Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to Thursday's lunchtime craft along. I'm having a really bad hair day, as per usual. Who knows what it's doing? Welcome to Thursday's lunchtime craft along. It is Thursday, the 25th of April, and we are live on Facebook and on YouTube. Do say hello as you join. It's always nice to see who's with me. Do excuse the pile of rubbish that's behind me over here. We're having recycling collection problems, so it's mounting up, and I've also been going through all my retired products, so throwing away some bits and pieces and having a good sort out, which is always nice to do at this time of year. So I hope you're all having a lovely week so far. Today I am going to be sharing a triple, I think I've called it a triple fold card. Is that what I've called it? Let's have a look what I've called it. I've called it a triple panel card with a twist. So I'm going to share with you how to make this card. I really like it. I designed it late last night. And I've used the Perennial Lavender suite, but I've not used a single shade of purple. And I think you're going to quite like it. My glasses are really wonky. I think you're going to quite like it because it's very different. And I always like to see when people use a suite of products that aren't in the colour combination that Stampin' Up have designed it. And I think this is a really good example of that. It's also nice to see how things work with different colours, and this one definitely works in more of a neutral shade. So I've shared with you all on my Facebook page the bits and pieces you're going to need to craft along with me. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm sorry you won't have the instruction, you won't have the measurements ahead of time, but I will put them on after this. So I will flip my camera around and share the project with you, and do comment along and let me know what you think. And if you have any questions, do let me know. All of these products I've used are available to purchase on my website. You can find that at staceymarsh.co.uk. Throughout the month of April, when you spend over £45 with me, you will receive a free kit and PDF if you're in the UK for my April card class. And this month we've used the latte suite. So I've already had the in-person class, and kits will be sent out to you at the end of the month if you spend over £45. Do remember to add the shopping code, also known as the host code, at the checkout for this month, and you'll receive a free gift in the mail from me next month. We've also got a lot going on this month. There's the last chance sale, and the clearance rack has been updated. So the last chance sale is current product that will be discontinued on the 30th of April, so in 5 days' time. The clearance rack is product that has already been discontinued. So it's been in a previous catalogue. It's not currently available other than on the clearance rack. So both of those sets of products will, once they're sold out, they won't be restocked. And for the last chance sale, once the 30th of April arrives, it won't be available. It may pop back on the clearance rack, but I wouldn't be confident in saying that to expect it. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll flip my camera around, I'll show you what I'm going to be making, and hopefully we can spend a little bit of lunchtime together. Okay, let's just focus my camera. Here we go. So you can see a few people have joined us. Hi Darcy, who's watching from a beautiful sunny Winnipeg, Canada. It's sunny here, but it's absolutely freezing cold. Robin is joining us from Australia. Hi Robin. And Catherine is here just for a little while. Well, I'm very glad to have you all here with me. If you're watching on the replay, do still say hi as well. So this triple panel card starts off looking like this. As I mentioned at the beginning, I've used the Perennial Lavender suite, and there's not a single shade of purple in sight. This gingham paper here is from the Lavender suite, and I just love it. I think it's my favourite paper in the whole of the set. So this card folds out like so. So you've got a little bit of fun fold going on, and it stands up really nicely. It folds flat or flat-ish, depending on how much dimensionals you use to send in the mail, and it's a standard C6 card here in the UK. So it's really straightforward to make this. It also looks fab, bird's eye view. And it's simple to make, more simple than you think it's going to be. And I'm going to talk you through how I've done that. Hello, Sandra. Robin's put, what a stunning card. Thank you very much. And I genuinely love the lavender, how it looks without the purple. I'll show you a little sneak peek of a project I'm sharing at the weekend, which is using the lavender. And it's a similar style to this card, but it's just stepped up. It's just a different variation of it. So if you're joining my lavender class at the weekend, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but it's a similar principle, but I've used all the colour, all the papers. So that's it in the purple, and this is it, different style fold in the neutral colours. And the colours that I've used are crumb cake, pecan pie, and I've stamped in early espresso. So just neutral shades, which I do really love making projects in neutral shades. So that's the purple. This is the brown or the neutral. So I'll talk you through what you're going to need. I'll put that out of sight for a moment. It does look different, doesn't it? You wouldn't think they're the same set of products, but they absolutely are, I promise. So the pieces I've used, and this is all going to be in centimetres. So you're going to start with a base. This is crumb cake card, and this measures 15 centimetres by 28.5 centimetres. I will share all these measurements with you in the PDF afterwards. It's been one of those days where I haven't had a chance to put it all together and share it. You'll also need 3 pieces of white or vanilla card, whichever you prefer using. And this measures, where's my little ruler? This measures 9 by 11.5. So 3 pieces of white or vanilla, 9 by 11.5 centimetres. And you need one of those for each of your panels. You then need 2 pieces of designer series paper. I've used the lovely gingham pattern from the Perennial Lavender set. And these are 0.5 centimetre smaller than the white panels. So that is 8.5 centimetres by 11 centimetres. And they sit just inside the 2 end panels. So you've got a nice little border of white around each. This panel in the middle is empty because that's where I would put my writing. I would, write my message on there. And then for the bottom, you've got what I would call scraps, but they're scraps with a purpose. So you've got some pecan pie. This one is 2.5. They're all 2.5 centimetres in width, this card. So this is 2.5 centimetres by 9. And then you have 4 pieces that are 4.2 centimetres by 2.5. And then you should have some white pieces. So these now measure 2 centimetres in height and 3.7 centimetres in length for the short pieces and 8.5 for the long pieces. But obviously we need to do some work to get it looking super pretty. So let me take all these pieces now and pop them to one side. Hi, Danny. I hope you're okay, my lovely. So, using your trimmer, take out the arm, and you're going to do 2 score lines. So each panel along your card is 9.5 centimetres. So you're going to score at 9.5 centimetres all the way to the bottom, and then at 19 centimetres top to bottom. So that's giving you your 3 panels. They're all equal in size, 9.5, 9.5 and 9.5. You're then going to turn your card around so that you've got the short edge at the top, and you're going to, I'm lining it up over here, okay? I'm going to line it up at 3 centimetres and I'm going to score. And that will give you this panel at the bottom. But obviously there's a little bit more detail on there. So you're going to turn it around and you've got here your first panel. Technically it's the last panel, but we need to work upside down. So we're going to turn it all the way around so that short scored piece is at the top and the bigger section is at the bottom. And you're going to line this up at 4.7 centimetres, and you want to score from the top of your card only to this score line. You want to leave this completely untouched. So you're scoring from top of the card to the score line. Just do that quite gently. That's it. So you can see there, I'll just bring it up to the camera so you can see it. You can see there, you've made that section at the top smaller, we've split it in half, and we've only scored to that score line, leaving this large panel completely untouched. Okay, and then using the bottom of your trimmer, you're going to turn it up the other way. So you've now got the short edge, the short scored section at the bottom, and you're going to line it up the same. So 4.7, and you're scoring from the bottom of your card to that first score line. Remember to score, not cut. I made a boo-boo on this last night. Very cross with myself. So score up to that score line. Lovely. So I've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections at the bottom. 2 small, 1 large, and 2 small. But what we need to do now is we need to cut. So I'm going to cut this piece. Okay, I can show you that in screen. So I'm going to cut from that first score line here, from this first score line here down to the last score line, which will free up all of that bit at the bottom and give you that lovely shape when you stand your card. Okay, so the easiest way to do this is to use your trimmer again, not a knife and a ruler. So I am lining it up at 3 centimetres over here, and I'm going to score from this score line here. This score line, oh, you can't even see because it's not in shot. I'm scoring from this score line here down to this score line here. Okay, so the easiest way to do this is to take your score up to that line, like so, and then take it down to that line. Lovely. Okay, so that has given me a split panel. Now that's all your scoring and your cutting done. Okay, now it's just a case of creasing your score lines really, really well. And I would always recommend when you're making a fun fold card, this will be the difference between it going well and it not going well. You really need to crease your score lines more than you think you should. So I've scored those, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that one back onto itself and crease down there, and then I'm going to fold this one back on itself and crease again. So now we have our template like so. Now Danny, who's watching, she gave me some fabulous advice that I've got in my brain, and it will never disappear from my brain. When you make a fun fold card, make it in white first and then use that as your template. So I've got a box now. Every time I make a fun fold card, I make a version in white and I put the white version in the box to save for a rainy day, so you've always got it to come back to. Because I don't know about you, I will look on my shelf and think, oh, I like that fun fold, but I don't remember how I made that. Can't remember where I got the tutorial from. I end up in a Pinterest black hole, and then I can't remember what I was there for. So I will make this in white, write all the measurements on it, and then I've got it for a rainy day or next time I want to use it. It's a great advice from Danny. Thank you very much. So now let's do some sticking. I'm going to stick these to the card. So all of your large white pieces can get stuck down. It is good advice. See, Danny has a huge box full of fun folds. I love it. Best advice. Thank you, Danny. So this is getting stuck down there. And this one is being stuck in the middle. And then this next one. So they are my 3 panels. And then my designer series paper, I'm putting one on the first and one on the last. I really need to raise my camera, I think, because I keep doing this out of shot today. But you get the gist of it, I hope. There we go, so that's one. And once you've done all your cutting and scoring on this, it actually builds really nicely. And you can be as creative as you want with it. Now, for my bottom pieces, I'm going to stick on the pecan pie layers, and I'm going to do a little bit of stamping on the white ones. I'm going to create my own patterned paper. I need a new blade in my trimmer because I've got fluffy edges. So these just get layered inside the panels at the bottom. There we go. So now if you have fluffy edges like me, take your scissor blade and once it's stuck down, just run it along the edge and it just neatens everything up. So I'm just going to do that quickly here because it looks a wee bit scruffy in places. Okay, that's made that a little bit neater. Could always use a nail file. So that is now heading in the right direction, which is good. Now you've got these pieces of white that we've already cut out. So I'm going to stamp on this. I'm going to use the lavender stamps. Is that signing? Yes. So if your edges are going fluffy, it's a sign that your blade is becoming blunt. So it just means you need a new blade. Yours has been like that from the start. That's not very good. That's not very lucky, I'm afraid. You can get a bit of tin foil and it can sometimes sharpen your blade. If you put a bit of tin foil in and just cut a few times, it will sharpen it a little bit. But mine are super fluffy and you can kind of feel it when you, not that I'm encouraging you to touch a blade, but you can kind of tell that it's going a bit blunt. It doesn't feel very, very sharp. So mine is definitely coming to the end of its time. So I'm going to do some stamping and I've got all my 4 pieces here and 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm using this larger width lavender stamp and I'm also using the thinner one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp on all 4 pieces. I'm going to try and do this at the same time with the thicker one in crumb cake. So I'm going my lighter shade first. Okay. And this, there's no real technique to this. I'm just stamping. You can also use first and second generation if you want to. And it's just to get the pattern onto the paper. Okay. And then these 2 at the end. Lovely. So that is my background pattern done in the crumb cake. I'm now going to take the pecan pie ink and I'm going to stamp this thinner image. If I get it the right way, that's it. The thinner image just randomly across it, just to give it a bit more depth. You can always use sort of what I would call second generation. So second generation is the first time you stamp after you've inked. Second generation would be the second time you've stamped after you've inked. And you just get a different tone of the same colour. There's another really good way to use your ink pads. And essentially what we're doing is we're creating our own patterned paper. Okay, so now I've done that, I'll just show you what that looks like so. Lovely, lovely pattern. And now these are going to get stuck down onto the panels at the bottom. And this would be a lovely card for a special occasion. There's a little bit more to it. You could even extend the panels, so you could add more panels on and just keep going. So it would also make a nice little mini album. You could use the rear side as well, so you could make it double-sided. It would make a lovely little mini album if it was double-sided. So that is, we're getting somewhere now. It's starting to look like my sample. So now we want to do a little bit more. So I've gone ahead and I have die cut myself a couple of circles. So these have been cut out of crumb cake card using the Stylish Shapes dies, and then I've embossed them. I've embossed them with an embossing folder that's due to retire, and I don't know what it's called, which is always good fun. Let me see what I can find. Let's see what it's called. It's got lavender in it when you look at it. So it's the Painted Posies 3D embossing folder. It's actually reduced. It's down to by 50%, and it currently costs £5.12. So a really good addition to your craft stash. Where is it? Here it is. It's underneath my dies. So this is the embossing folder. It's a square embossing folder. And it's a great sort of background scenery style. It's a 3D one, so you get a really deep emboss with it. And my recommendation is when you want to die cut and emboss, die cut first and emboss second, so that your embossing doesn't get squashed. I'm going to add this to my card with some foam pads. And I'm just using pieces of this adhesive foam sheet. So that's going to get stuck down in the centre of the panel. And I'm sticking these onto the first and third panel. Like so. Obviously remember, the more dimensionals you use on your card, the thicker it will be. So if you're thinking about sending this in the mail, perhaps not use so many dimensionals, because it will tip it over into a large letter. So we want to do some decorating. I want some white cards. I can see what I can get on this little strip. So I'm going to stamp myself some lavender. I want 3 lavender heads. So I'm using the same stamps that I used on that bottom section a moment ago, and I'm going to start again with the light shade Crumb Cake to stamp this large lavender head. So 1, 2, and I wonder if I can get a third on here. I can, that's good news. And a third. There we go. So I've got my 3 large lavender heads, and now using Pecan Pie, which is, I would say, the next shade of brown along in our collection, I am going to line this up so it sits in the middle and stamp. And that just gives you a really nice depth in your image. So I'm going to do that to all three. There we go. And then I also want to stamp, which I don't think I've got room on my card for. I also want to stamp this stem. So this stem is for my lavender head, and I'm going to stamp in Early Espresso, which is our darkest shade of brown. Well, I might be lucky actually. I'm going to give this a go. One, and I just want two of these. Two. Perfect. So now I need to die cut that out, and you can get away with using the mini die machine for this. I do like to put a little bit of washi tape around my dies so that they don't move. Okay, so my die machine is just behind me, so I'm just going to go out of shot for a moment. Has anyone else tried to use the lavender suite with different colours? Oh, that's just popped off. That's not very good. I've mainly only seen it used with purple. I did see someone share a project in yellow the other day, which looked really, really pretty. It was really quite striking, actually. She'd used sort of yellows and oranges and golds in her card. It was stunning. Two. Not yet, but loving this. Thank you, Robin. I haven't, but that's a great idea. I mean, it doesn't have to be lavender, does it? So I definitely hope this inspires you to use some different colours. I love using neutral colours. Catherine's used blue. Oh, I bet that's nice. I made some cards not so long ago with the textured floral set, just in a combination of neutral colours, and I loved it, and they went down really, really well. So there's that die finished with, and then I want this one. And I'm also going to cut out, I'm going to use this die here, which has got two shapes in it, and I'm going to cut that out of some crumb cake card whilst I'm here. Have to try it in the new ink colours. Oh, that's a great idea. You could do a whole selection of them, couldn't you? One in each colour. Oh, there you go. So I've got two of these. I actually want four. I probably could have done this bit before I went live, but I wasn't that organised today. I'm going to get two more out of it. I've got another bit here. And then I also need some cut from Pecan Pie. So this die here, which is a lovely sort of leaf shape, I want two of those. So let's do that at the same time as well. Pretty in Pink and Petunia Pop would be nice. It would be. Yeah, lovely. Also the peach pie and pumpkin pie. I think that would look nice. So there's my 4 crumb cake stems. And then I just want one more of this in Pecan Pie. Okay, so we're there now with the stamping and the die cutting. So it's just a matter of assembling everything. I'm just going to move this out the way. Right, so I need to decorate this section and this section. So I'm going to create myself a little floral arrangement. So I'm going to start with a pecan pie leaf. And this I'm going to stick down flat. I'm just adding a little bit of wet glue, not much at all. Stick that about there. And then the same on this one. So, and then I've got these lovely lavender stems. I'm going to stick down. Oh no. Oh, sorry. I've just got glue on my card. That's really not very nice. And this one, I'm going to stick 3 of these down. And I'm not using too much glue because I want it to feel sort of free flowing. Like so. So you're really building up your pattern. And these two, I'm going to stick these two together just by the bottom. And then this stem, I'm going to attach this to the underside of the lavender. Like so. And then that can get stuck down. But I'm actually going to stick this down with a foam pad for a little bit more depth. Like so. Okay, so that's that bit. Now moving on to this one here. There's not going to be as much floral arranging on this one, this side. I'm just going to use the other one of these. There, and then I'm going to use one lavender head for the back of this as well. And then a dimension. So it's a little bit fiddly, but I think it's worth it. There. So you've got a nice little floral arrangement across the card now, and then we're going to do a little bit of stamping. So I have used the sentiment, "You are loved beyond measure," and big hugs. I think this is a lovely reason to send a card. So the width of that banner is 1.5 centimetres. So I'm going to bring in, I did lie, I said we wouldn't need our trimmer anymore, but it's just for a banner. So 1.5 centimetres I want this for. So, where is my sentiment? This is "You are loved beyond measure." Obviously, loved goes off will go above below the banner, and we want that to happen. So "You are loved beyond measure," and then I want to stamp it again on another bit of scrap. So this bit here will do, and I just, in theory, want the word "loved." So then this one, I'm going to just trim it down ever so slightly, cutting at an angle so that can get stuck down and attached to the card. It looks a bit iffy at the moment, but I promise you it will become good. And what I'm doing is I'm actually sticking it so that it overlaps the join between that lavender head and the stem. I think it just neatens it up a little bit. And then now, using my snips, I'm going to cut out the word loved, leaving a little white border around the edge. It's just giving it a little bit more detail on that banner. And these sentiments look fab when they are done like this. I do love a sentiment where there's two different fonts. Oh, I can keep hold of it. There we go. And this is going to get stuck just over the top of that word loved. So you then have a lovely effect of that banner, but with the word loved sort of being a little bit more free. And then the last thing I need to do is I'm going to stamp big hugs in the centre of this middle panel. And that's it, we're done. So that is my triple panel card with a little twist. It looks exactly the same as the one I made earlier, which is always lovely. And I think you will enjoy that. I'm getting an impression from the comments you quite liked seeing it in a different colour. It's a very simple card to put together. It doesn't use too much product at all. You just need to be a little bit clever with using your trimmer. I will put the free PDF online in probably about 20 minutes, so you'll be able to download that. You'll have all the measurements. Please do use it in your craft room as you wish. And if you do make your own version, please share it back with me on social media. My handle on Instagram and Facebook is Stampin with Stacey Marsh, or you could email it to me if you would like to. Email address is stampinwithstaceymarsh@gmail.com. So all that leaves me to say is thank you so much for watching. It's been fun spending a little bit of my Thursday lunchtime with you all. As always, if you have any comments or questions, please do get in touch. It's always lovely to hear from you. And I will be back same time next week with a different fold, and I look forward to seeing you all then. Bye for now.